congressman for Minnesota's 1st District for 12 years, and now sharing his thoughts with us on the Al Travis Show. It's Congressman Gil Gutknecht.
Not just a congressman, friend of the program, but a bit of a comedian as well. I'm going to share a little green room talk with everybody. So I asked Gil when he got up, I said, "Hey, Gil, how you doing? What's going on today?" And he goes, "I got an appointment with Dr. Green right after this." I should have gotten that joke right away, sir. I didn't, because I'm thinking, oh, no, he's going back for more eye work. Because after you talked about getting your cataracts done, I had more conversations and more emails on this program about your cataracts. I'm like, oh, he's going back. And you made a golf joke, and I missed it. I apologize, sir. I may not be on my game today.
Well, that was sort of a joke when I was in Washington, when I would occasionally get an invitation to play in a fundraising golf tournament, usually on a Monday or a Friday. And so when people would call and say, "Well, where is he?" and the staff was trained to tell people that I had an appointment with Dr. Green.
Okay, that's fair enough. I should have called. I usually tell people I have 18 meetings this afternoon, about 9 minutes apart.
That's a good one, too.
All right. Let's talk some politics if we can. I appreciate you being here, by the way, my friend. Local stuff first. We'll get to Donald and the rest. Mr. Trump. You watch politics. You've done this for years. You're a congressman here in the 1st District, like the promo said, for 12 years. Is Governor Walz running for a 3rd term? Is he running for president? I was talking to the wife the other day. I think maybe he's just trying to keep that name recognition up in case someone from his team that could actually wins, and then he could be secretary of a thing. What is it you think our governor's doing?
Well, I think he recognizes that the Democratic Party is leaderless right now. Okay, and it is not unusual for the vice presidential candidate to sort of rise to the level of party leader during that vacuum. I mean, essentially, what you have is a vacuum inside the Democratic Party right now, and he, I think, in his inner circle, who thinks he's absolutely wonderful and brilliant, and that they would have done better if they would have listened to him, and all that kind of thing. They're saying, "Governor, you got to step up and help fill that vacuum." And so I think they were the ones probably behind the whole idea of these town hall meetings, which I'm not sure they helped him at all. So I think he's trying to fill a vacuum right now, and there's not a downside in some respects for him doing that, because by holding himself out, if you run your name up the flagpole, so to speak, you just try to see how many people are going to salute it, and I don't think he's getting a whole lot of salutes, but we'll see.
Do you believe he's realizing that he's kind of that placeholder? And what I mean by that, when a good baseball team goes on tough times and they got to get rid of a manager, they'll hire somebody who's going to be there 1 year, maybe a year and a half. He's gone. Then we can start rebuilding, kind of a sacrificial lamb. Does he know that's who he is? Because I don't remember the last time, what would be 2.5, 3 years out, the front runner for a party was still the front runner when it came time to do the deal. You know what I'm saying? He must know that even if he's somehow catches a wave now, he is not going to be the nominee 2.5 years from now.
I don't think he knows that.
3 years.
No, I don't. No. I think that I think he sort of lived in a political bubble for the last 16 years, and he's been protected by the statewide media. I mean, a lot of the once he was exposed at the national level, all of his weaknesses were demonstrated.
Light up.
But as I say, I think his inner circle still thinks he's wonderful, and they want to be there when he becomes the next president of the United States. They want an office just down the hall from the Oval Office. There are a whole lot of dynamics going on. So I don't think he knows what his future holds. I think he may instinctively begin to feel that he's worn out his welcome as governor of Minnesota. Okay. I think that this huge deficit, which was brought about by the overspending over the last several years, I think those chickens are coming home to roost. And I think he, whether it's the hundreds of millions of dollars that were stolen under his watch,
Hmm.
or what he did with the big surplus, on so many fronts, I think he has to understand that his chances of being reelected as governor are not that great. And so he may be saying, I'm just going to leave Minnesota as the sitting governor, retire from, and then I'll travel the country and on the speaking circuit. Maybe I can't get $300,000 a speech, but if I can get, $50,000 a speech and
Yeah.
give a couple of speeches every month, it doesn't seem
Doing all
like
right.
much, but it adds up.
Why would you think then he doesn't, if you're down that line, and I don't think anything you said probably doesn't make any sense or doesn't make sense for me. Why not say that out loud and let somebody on the Democratic side start running for that office? Seems weird to me as he hangs out there and day after day does not get out. No Republicans are getting in. No Democrats are getting into that governor's race. They don't want to fight him for it. Doesn't he hurt his team the longer if like you say he knows he's going to be out, the longer he does this the more he hurts his own team?
No, no, I actually would look at it the other way. I think the longer he stays out, and looks like he's going to be the nominee, the easier when he does get out, the easier it will be for a candidate to step forward
Oh,
who probably does not come from the political arena right now. In other words, doesn't have a record for a
okay.
lot of the goofiness that we've seen in the state. He wasn't part, or he or she were not, they weren't part of building this enormous deficit and overspending. And who can say, you know, I think their intentions were good, but they went too far. And when I'm governor, we're going to
No.
try and set a course that will work for all of Minnesotans. So I think there's a very good chance that there is a dark horse out there waiting to run. And as soon as the gate is open, they're going to get in the race. And that may well be true on the Republican side as well. I just don't know. The problem for Republicans is that we don't do much to sort of groom candidates to run
Yep.
for statewide office. And I could probably spend a couple hours just talking about how Democrats take care of people.
Hmm.
For example, I remember a couple of years ago, when Jim Hagedorn was the congressman in the first district. I mean, the Democrats had a candidate they brought out from Washington, D.C., that they had found a job for him in
Hmm.
Washington, D.C. And then when he was defeated, they found him another job that
Yeah.
paid incredibly well so he could run again in 2 years. Now, as I recall, he didn't actually run
The
the
second.
next
Yeah.
time, but the Democrats groomed him and had him in a position so that he could run. We don't do that. I mean, the Republicans don't do that at all. Once and it's a big difference because you see, we see politics largely as a part-time deal, and
Yep.
you're a volunteer, you do your job, and then you go on and leave. Okay. Democrats see it as a full-time, all the time. Politics is a full-time, all the time business for them.
Gotcha. Well, and I would say I'd ask you, and maybe that's putting you on the spot. If we're going to get an open governor seat, well, for Republicans, it is. It seems so strange to me we don't have a list of 4, 5, 6 people that you can put off the top of your head that say they should be the governor of Minnesota for the Republicans. We don't have a bench. We don't even have a starting lineup in my book.
I
Am I
can't
wrong?
comment on that. I mean,
Okay, I was going to say, I'm trying to, if I had to put 9 names out statewide, people across all the job titles we have that are coming up, I don't think we field the team right now. And I just find that remarkable. Now, maybe they all come out of the woodwork as soon as the session's over. I don't know. But they're lining up on the left for each spot that opens up.
right, but let me again come back. I think there may be an entrepreneur, a successful business person. I mean, I can think of one
Okay.
who founded a very successful software company.
Okay.
I know that he has political ambitions. I can also think of another one, who helped found a very successful business. And I won't even talk about what
Okay.
business he's in, who has expressed interest in running for statewide office. So I can think of
Yeah.
two people right now
All right.
who might jump into the fray. Um, and frankly, sort of like Donald Trump, for the best of reasons. They don't need the
Yeah.
money. They don't need the jobs. They don't need the all of the
Headache.
slings
Yeah.
and arrows that come with it. But I think they may jump in, and who knows what will happen. I think we tend to think everything has to happen 12 months before the election. That's
Yeah.
not really true. I think elections are usually won or lost in the last 3 weeks anyway. So
Okay.
what people do now is not that, to me, it's not important.
All right. We'll go to break. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on nationally. I just threw it out there that we don't fill a whole team. But I will mention before I go to break, Governor Gutknecht has a bit of a ring to it. I throw it out there to you. Just as a whim.
All the special interests are represented in St. Paul. But who speaks for you? Center of the American Experiment does. Our policy fellows dig into the tough issues that matter to you and offer common sense solutions on education, taxes, crime, and energy. American Experiment is the trusted, nonpartisan voice of Minnesotans like you. We are working every day to make Minnesota a better, safer, more prosperous place. We are American Experiment. Go to americanexperiment.org to learn more.
Dust from livestock buildings can be harmful to your animals and to you. Coughing animals can lead to costly vet visits and other serious health problems. Now there's an environmentally safe solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Lock. Dust Lock can control the dust all summer long with just one application. Protect your animals and your health with Dust Lock. Learn more at dustlock.com.
It's nice to know a guy that knows a guy. Al Travis.
We know him as Congressman Gil Gutknecht. Love to have him on the program. Congress, kind of a softball question, but I want to get into a little deeper. Grade President Trump's first 100 days. He's in week 14. Your thoughts on his first 100 days so far?
I'm a tough grader, but I'd give him an A-.
Okay.
I think on the policy side, he's done almost everything right. On the communication side, I think he stumbled a couple of times. As I said, I think the whole way he's rolled out the tariffs could have been done a lot smoother. I also think he still continues to sometimes personalize things more than they really should be. So on the communication side, that's the only reason I wouldn't give him a full A. But I think he's doing a great job, and I think most Americans recognize that, and I think that's why he's sitting at his highest approval ever. I think the other thing that needs to be pointed out is that on the issues that he's advancing, particularly the removal of illegal aliens, and particularly criminal illegal aliens, the American people are behind him overwhelmingly, and that includes Democrats. And that's part of the reason that one of the other people who is one of those horses out there for the Democrats, Governor Newsom out in California, has jumped up and said, "Hey, this whole thing with this MS-13 member from Maryland,
Garcia,
this is a distraction." You know, he wants to move away from those kinds of issues because he's looking at it, and I suspect he's doing polling, and he's finding out that these are losers. These are losing issues. Why are we embracing the wrong end of so many of these debates, whether it's, boys competing in girls' sports or or trying to eliminate waste in government spending? On all these issues, the Democrats seem to be taking the losing side on what are 80-20 or 90-10 issues.
But aren't they, and I'm going to go with the Garcia thing, again, Newsom doesn't like it. The polls say all Americans, 80%, some weird number, want us to deport these terrible people. But somehow this Garcia thing is catching on. 4 more Democrat representatives are down in El Salvador trying to get him out or do whatever they're trying to do. If you talk to the average Joe that only listens to CNN or MSNBC, they believe this is the father of the year in Maryland who was just picked up, nabbed, and taken away. And I turned to a friend of mine and said, you think Donald Trump would put everything he's got on the line to just go to Maryland, pick father of the year up, and drive him south? Go look what this guy's done. But they don't. They see MSNBC saying if they can get him, they can get the rest of us. This guy's not an American. He's an illegal. Let's just start there, and then you do the rest about people trafficking, MS-13, beating his wife. I don't, what I mean? I know that he's on the right side when this all comes down, but right now we're at 5 representatives who put their lives, their reputations on the line to go get him.
I don't know what the question. Calm down just a little bit. I think there are probably almost as many people listening to us on the radio this morning as there are watching MSNBC.
Now that's a slap on me, and that's not mine. Now that's kind of funny, my friend. That's kind of funny. Let's go to the tariff side of things, though. How quickly does this have to get solved? Now, he pushed it off 90 days because at some point, we will see the prices of things go up because of that. I mean, a tariff is a tax, basically. If they haven't got the tax breaks in line, taken care of, people are going to see that out of their wallet, and we are. Everything's just 2 years away. There's another election coming up. Can he get it fixed, see the stock market go back up, and fix this in time? Your thoughts on the tariffs? China's going to play tough.
Well, China's bluffing. I mean, there's no question in my mind that China is bluffing. And in terms of the prices going up, the Chinese manufacturers, the Chinese production people, who are themselves now becoming billionaires for the most part, they have a tough decision. Do they raise prices to compensate, or do they eat part of the new tariffs?
Yeah.
And frankly, we already know that when Trump imposed tariffs on the Chinese in his first term, the Chinese manufacturers, for the most part, ate the tariffs. Okay. Now they're at a point now where they can't eat all the tariffs, and so it is going to raise some prices, but it's also going to make it easier to do more production in other places. For example, in places where we have free trade, it will be easier to manufacture socks, for example, in El Salvador. And import them in the United States because there's no tariff. And so what it's going to do, it's going to reset the world trading system, and it's going to favor those who don't have tariffs. Because I think what Trump will do, and he's used this term, but he hasn't done it very well, this idea of reciprocal tariffs. So if El Salvador goes to 0 tariffs, we're going to go to zero tariffs for El Salvador. And at the end of the day, it's going to make it a whole lot more profitable to do business in El Salvador than in communist China. And so he's squeezing communist China on a lot of different fronts, and they really don't have anywhere else to go.
Fair enough, sir. I've got to fly. We are out of time. Always a pleasure to have you on. It goes by so fast. Go see the doctor and hit him straight, my friend. Appreciate you.
I got to make a putt.
You and Rory McIlroy. We didn't even get to talk about the Masters. I would have choked in that first one. I would have. I play for $1 a side. I would have choked on that. He's playing for $4 million. Love having you on, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
He's Congressman Gil Gutknecht on the Al Travis Show.